The whispering trees. Deep within the heart of the Amazon rainforest, where the dense canopy of trees blocked out the sun and the air felt thick with humidity, a group of explorers set out on a journey few had ever dared to undertake. They were searching for something ancient, something lost to time. A hidden tribe, rumored to have survived the collapse of the ancient civilization centuries ago. But in this untamed wilderness, the forest had its own secrets, secrets that didn't care for the intrusion of outsiders. The expedition consisted of 5 members: Dr. Lucas Myers, a seasoned archaeologist; Ana Silva, a biologist who knew the rainforest like the back of her hand; Victor Ruiz, a former soldier-turned-guide; and 2 young explorers, Emma and Jake, both eager to make their mark in the world of adventure. On the 5th day of their trek, the atmosphere grew oppressive. The usual cacophony of animal calls had gone eerily silent. The air, once warm and thick with the scent of damp earth, now felt wrong. The trees, ancient and towering, seemed to press in closer with every step they took. It was as though the forest itself was watching them. The group stumbled upon a clearing they hadn't expected, and in the center of it stood an enormous tree, its roots twisting and winding like serpents, its bark gnarled and cracked with age. The tree's presence was overwhelming, and beneath its vast branches, a strange feeling of unease settled over them. It was as if something was lurking, just out of sight, waiting. Victor, the guide, stood frozen for a moment. His eyes darted around nervously, but he said nothing. "Something wrong?" Anna asked, noticing his tense posture. Victor shook his head. "Just feels off. Let's keep moving." They pressed on, but as they turned to leave the clearing, they heard it, a low, almost imperceptible whisper. It came from the tree, carried on the wind. At first, the explorers thought it was just the rustling of the leaves, but the sound grew more distinct, faint voices, murmuring in a language they couldn't understand. Jake was the first to break the silence. "Did anyone else hear that?" "I heard it," Emma whispered, her voice trembling. "It sounds like voices." Dr. Myers stepped forward, intrigued. Could it be the lost tribe? Some kind of ritualistic chanting? Victor's face went pale. "No, that's not it. We need to go." The whispers grew louder, as if the trees themselves were speaking. The group was now trapped in the clearing, unable to move. The air felt heavy, like a storm was about to break, but the sky remained clear, the sun hanging low in the sky. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath their feet, and the massive tree began to shift, its roots lifting and writhing like they were alive. The whispers turned into guttural, inhuman sounds, filling the air with an overwhelming sense of dread. A shadow, darker than the deepest night, began to form at the base of the tree. Anna gasped. What is that?" The shadow twisted, contorting into shapes that defied the laws of nature. Faces, limbs, eyes, all blinking and shifting in a grotesque dance. The trees around them seemed to lean inward, their branches like skeletal hands, reaching toward the explorers. Victor grabbed Anna's arm. "Run, now!" But it was too late. The ground cracked open beneath them, and from the depths of the earth, tendrils of black vines shot up, wrapping around their legs, pulling them down. The forest was alive, its ancient heart beating with a malevolent force that had waited centuries for the right moment to awaken. As the vines coiled tighter, Dr. Myers reached out toward the tree, his face pale with realization. The tribe, they weren't lost. They became part of the forest, they became the tree. The last thing they heard before being swallowed by the earth was the unmistakable sound of whispers, now clear and unmistakable. The voices weren't speaking in an ancient language after all. They were calling their names. And then, silence. Days later, a search party arrived, but they found no trace of the explorers. No footprints, no camp, no sign they had ever been there. All that remained was the ancient tree, standing tall in the clearing, its roots now more twisted than ever. But as the wind blew through the leaves, those who were close enough to the clearing swore they heard something. A soft, indistinguishable whisper on the breeze. And if they listened long enough, they could just make out a name. Their names. The forest had claimed them, just as it had claimed so many before.